Hi guys, and welcome back to episode number 4 of my body transformation series. Today we're going to be talking all things calories. So we're going to be looking at what calories are, ideas on how you can structure your day around hitting a calorie target. We're going to look at some simple food swaps for if you're dieting, and we're going to just look at some general ideas as to what it looks like to live a lifestyle where you're going to track your calories. Remember guys, if you enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to alert you every time I post a new video every Monday. Today is a great opportunity for me to share my experiences with you as a bodybuilder and as a personal trainer. I've been tracking my calories now for about 6 years, so a lot of lessons have been learned, and I cannot wait to share so much information with you. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode, so get ready to learn. We got this. So guys, when I started out on my bodybuilding journey, I had minimal knowledge about nutrition, exercise, food in general. I just didn't really know where to start, and I quickly found myself overwhelmed completely. Actually, I got involved with a coach. So Stephen is my coach and has been now for nearly 6 years, and that really helped me to get an understanding into what it was like to track calories and understand nutrition and training a little bit more. And through that experience, I can now help you understand a little bit more about your calories and how to make this a lifestyle. So before we get started, I just want you to bear in mind that this video is about how to hit a daily calorie target, not how to work out your calories. So once you have a calorie target, we can get cracking with the information I've got to share. I remember when I first started out with tracking calories, and I didn't even really know what a calorie was, to be honest. And this is where my coach Stephen came in, and he was able to guide me and help me learn how to track my calories, but understand why I was doing it, how to go about hitting different targets. Now, I follow an approach where I look at my macronutrients as well, but this is something we will go into over the coming weeks. Today, we're going to look at hitting an overall calorie target. Now, guys, what is a calorie? So essentially, the amount of energy in an item of food or drink is measured in calories, and we all have a base amount of calories we need to function. And the reason we count calories is so that we can understand what our body needs in order to facilitate our goals. So if you're dieting, you would look to get into a calorie deficit. If you're looking to stabilize your weight, you would look at a maintenance amount of calories. And if you're looking to gain weight and muscle, then you would look to get into a surplus. So understanding the basics will help you facilitate your goals. So the first thing that I urge you to consider is how you're going to monitor your calories. So there's options of using food tracking apps, or you can look at meal plans. So they both be quite similar in some ways, but essentially a meal plan is going to lay out what you eat each day. It may go into times and quantities of what you're going to have, what food you're going to include. Whereas the flexible dieting approach is it can be that you change your foods every day, or you can have similar foods, but it enables you to be able to input foods manually and build your day around your targets. So once you have the first 2 steps in place, you can start to look at how you're going to structure your day around your calorie target. Now, what you want to consider is that you've set your calorie target and what way you're going to monitor that to suit your goals. So make sure you have clear goals in mind, which is something we've discussed in episodes 1 and 2 of this series. So if you've watched my first 3 videos, you'll start to understand that I try to emphasize as much as possible that you need to be willing to learn. It's going to take time to understand nutrition, especially if you've never delved into this before. It's going to be new. So setting that time aside to make mistakes, to learn lessons is really, really important. So ultimately, your goal is going to depict on how much you need to focus on hitting your calories. So generally, the bigger the transformation, the more effort you're going to need to put in, and for the longer period of time you're going to need to do that. And I would urge you to consider that when you half-ass things, it's going to elongate the process of getting to your goals. So just remember, if you can put effort in, your results are going to be a lot quicker than if you're not really focusing on what you need to do. So let's say you've got your goals sorted, you've got your calorie target, and you know how you want to monitor this. So now it's time to start thinking about going food shopping, food prepping, scheduling time in to do that. But also, if you're on a meal plan, learning that structure. So what food you're going to be eating, what sort of times, quantities, etc. And also, if you're following a flexible dieting approach, how you're going to structure your meals and your day around your calorie target. And with that knowledge comes the ability to plan. And it's all in the planning, really. If you can plan ahead when you know that you've got a busy schedule, sometimes you're going to feel really tired and you don't really want to meal prep. But if you've got a plan in place as to what you need to meal prep, you've got all the foods there, then you can crack on with it without as much thought. You can also adhere to your diet a lot more, because if you've already planned what your meals are, if you're up against it and everything's set in place, you can just eat those meals, do what you need to do to facilitate your goals, and focus on less stress around your diet. So I personally follow a flexible dieting approach, or if it fits your macros, and I use an app called MyFitnessPal to monitor this. So with that, I can scan foods in, I can build my day around what foods I want to include, what sort of times I want to eat, and I can be as structured as I want to be. So you can plan ahead or you can do it on the day. Now, this in itself has been a real journey for me. I've gone from really obsessing over hitting a calorie target every single day to the number. And now it's a lot more relaxed for me. Now I've learnt the ropes, but it's taken time. Working with Stephen has really helped with this. And one of my funniest memories that we still laugh at now, I've got that nature of wanting to do my best for my sport. So when I first started using MyFitnessPal, I used to sometimes track 2 weeks in advance. So if you asked me now, I'd be able to tell you what I was having in 2 weeks' time, and I could probably list off most of the quantities, to be honest. So I got very controlling with it. And I remember when Stephen came to do a seminar at the leisure centre I work at, and he brought a mint aero from the vending machine. So I was like, oh, I've got a mint aero factored in for next Thursday. Bearing in mind this was on the Friday before. And he was like, next Thursday? I was like, yeah, I've factored it in so that I can fit in a mint aero next Thursday. And he still looked very confused. So what he's done with working with me is try to bring down that controlling nature and allow me to enjoy this as a lifestyle that little bit more. So planning ahead is good, if you're working during the week, you might plan on a Sunday for most of the week. You might, even if you're flexible dieting, put yourself a meal plan type structure if that works for you. But it's important to enjoy what you're doing. There's a couple of things I want to share with you about using MyFitnessPal. So if you decide to go down the flexible dieting approach when you're monitoring your calories, there's an option where you can add your exercise. So I always veer away from this, and the main reasons for that are because it can very easily overestimate how many calories you're burning, and if you then input that into MyFitnessPal, you can then have calories added to your day to facilitate the exercise you've done. Now, especially when dieting, any extra calories that you burn really are going to be a bonus. So by adding that in, and if it does overestimate, you may well take yourself out of being in that calorie deficit that you need. B is that every exercise session you do is going to be different. So it might be that you find that you work harder when you train something like, say, legs compared to upper body. You may have had a bad night's sleep the night before, so your energy is affected. Some days you feel really good, some days not so good. So it'd be very hard for an app like MyFitnessPal to work out the exact amount of calories you've burnt in that session. Ideally, when you're setting your calorie target, you want to take into account what exercise sessions you're going to do over a week and factor that into the target that you set. So whether you're doing that with a coach or you're going to do that by yourself, if you can work out things like what steps you're going to try and hit each day, your weekly exercise sessions, and whether you're going to go into a deficit, a maintenance period, or a surplus, that can all come together as an overall plan. So you wouldn't then need to input your exercise sessions on top of that. Second is meals out. So MyFitnessPal has the facility to add quite a few popular restaurants and the calories that the meals on the menu have into your daily intakes. So say Nando's, for instance. Now what you can do is you can either add that through MyFitnessPal, or you can also double check on their website. So if you see here, if I go on the Nando's website, and if I click on food and then view menu, you can see here all the different courses. So I can pick the course that I want to have a look at and then scroll down to the food that I want to check the calories for. And it also has all the macronutrients as well. So here you've got chicken, and when you click on it, you can choose the seasoning you want, and then you can see the calories that item of food offers. And if you click across, you can look at the calories for each of the different seasonings. You can then see here, if I click on burgers, pizzas and wraps, it takes me down to that part of their website. I can then access the nutritional breakdown here for all of the different options. Now, if you're going to a restaurant and they don't have this facility, then you can look at guesstimating. So as you can see here, a simple chicken meal, you can look to add all the different calories from the items on the plate and then come up with a total, which is a rough idea of the amount of calories that you're having in that meal. Now, the only thing I would say is that things that are a bit more complex and there's lots of different ingredients, so say like a curry, or if you went to have sushi, something like that, depending on what your choices are, it can make it a little bit more difficult to guesstimate. So what you can do is you can either type in a tracker like MyFitnessPal, Indian curry, so if that was a korma, or tikka masala, say, you could type Indian restaurant tikka masala, and that will come up with lots of different options there. And I'd always say pick the higher calorie one, so you're overestimating rather than underestimating. And you can also try looking at Google and different places just to find a rough calorie content for the meal that you're going to have. And the last thing I'd like to add is, if you're scanning foods into a food tracker, just double check that when you scan the label on the product, that it's the same nutritional content as the item of food. I've had so many different occasions when I've scanned in something like, say, a chicken breast, and it's come up with Moroccan lamb. And if I didn't check the label and the app, then the macros are going to be very different. The calories are going to be different that come up on your food tracker. So just bear that in mind if you're looking at using an app. Now take a breath for a moment. Let the information start settling in. And hit me up with some comments of what your plans are with tracking. So whether you've done it before, whether you're new to it, if you're going to use an app, a meal plan, what your ideas are. Now, as you know, I use MyFitnessPal to track my calories. So it'd be great to hear from you guys and see what your plans are. Let's look at the different foods we can include when looking to hit a calorie target. Now, some basic recommendations I'd consider are eating every 3 to 5 hours, include protein over your day, ideally each time you eat. Look to incorporate a mixture of fruit and vegetables depending on your preference. And also try to think about a good percentage of food being single ingredient foods. So things like vegetables, things that are veering away from too many processed items. Depending on your lifestyle and how much time you can dedicate to this, start to try and experiment with different foods if you can. Last week I had an episode on meal prep, and how you can fit that into your lifestyle. So give that a watch for more information on meal prepping. And what you want to try and do is start to work out what foods satiate you most. If you can include foods that you enjoy, that will help you adhere for a little bit longer. And ultimately, you want to try and build a food plan or a flexible dieting approach that suits your lifestyle, that you enjoy, and that offers you the energy that you need to leave you feeling really, really good on your plan. When you go food shopping, you can start to look at different calories in different items of food. And you can start to build up an understanding into what food you can fit into your diet. And what you can also do is, when you look at the calories and nutritional content of different foods and start to learn more about them, you can make a decision if you want those to be included in your diet. So it might be that over time, foods that you used to eat, maybe things like, say, biscuits or chocolate, you might find the calories you use from them are better sourced from your single ingredient foods. Or, maybe you might swap something like a chocolate bar for a protein yogurt and some fruit, say. And what you may find is that leaves you feeling better and more satiated. So especially when you're dieting, considering those things and learning the different calorie contents and what you can fit into your diet is really important. As you get more comfortable with learning the calories in different foods, you can start to incorporate a little bit of what you fancy. Now, in previous episodes, we've spoken about, the potential of having a few squares of chocolate within your day. Just note what your behaviours are with food and do what you're comfortable with. If you're able to incorporate little bits here and there that are going to help your enjoyment and help you stick to your plan for longer, then you can look to do that. And ultimately, over time, you will become more and more comfortable with being able to include different foods. Before I give you a little update into my own prep, let's talk food swaps. So when you're dieting, a really good way to adhere and include things you enjoy is to start looking at making some really simple swaps that can help you feel much better on your diet and also help you feel like you're not missing out. So one of my favourites is, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say I love cheese. So I'm quite a mild girl, so I'd go for, mild cheddar, brie, things like that. So what you can look at including is things like Baby Bells. So that could be a Baby Bell light, even better because you're saving on calories by going down the light option. I also include things like Philadelphia Lightest. So you've got the full fat option, you've got the light option, and then they've got Philly Lightest, which is a fraction of the calories. So it's a really good way to factor in cream cheese into your diet without blowing your calorie target. Another consideration is sauces. So if you look at the difference between full fat mayo, light mayo, and ketchup, you can see the saving on calories as you work your way through. So generally, if you look at the red-based sauces, they're going to be a lot lower in calories than your white, creamy sauces. Then you can start to think about if you're going out. So if you're going out to eat, you could look at things like a simple swap, having a beef burger, you could have a chicken burger. Further still, you could look at, if you were going to entertain at home, something like a chicken wrap. So they're very similar foods, but you're saving calories each time you work your way down the line. So you're going from a red meat burger to the chicken burger to a chicken wrap. So there's an option there to still feel like you're enjoying your foods, but save calories. And one more example for all those coffee lovers out there. If you can save calories from going from something like a full fat latte to a skinny latte, it's almost half the calories. And depending on your preference, it might be over time you can look at something like a black coffee or with a dash of milk, and that's going to save a lot of calories. What you need to consider is the decisions you make need to be based on you as an individual, your goals, and how this is going to help you adhere for long periods of time. if you can get to the point where tracking your calories is the norm, then you can go in whichever direction you want to. And also by experiencing different foods, what calories are in them, you're going to have an understanding for the rest of your life. So you're going to become more informed when you make choices with different foods. I'll always remember the first year I started bodybuilding, and it got to Christmas, and I was so focused that I got my mum to cook me a weighed and measured Christmas dinner, and I tracked all the way through. Now, I was under the illusion that to be a real bodybuilder, I needed to track every single day. Now, I put that on myself. When I look back, I know that I needed to do that to now realise that for me, at Christmas, I now have a couple of weeks off, and it's to enjoy moments with friends and family. It's to cherish those times when, you go for a nice meal, or you have a Christmas dinner, or Bubble and Squeak, my favourite. So you've just got to weigh up how you can make this a lifestyle and still take times of enjoyment when you need to, when you want to. I won't ever do that again to my mum, I promise you, mum. But in order to learn, sometimes you need to do these things. But it's about working out the approach that best suits you. I really have been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been at the point where I've self-restricted a lot and felt like I shouldn't eat, I don't need to eat. But I've also been there, especially post-show, where I've eaten far too much because I felt like I needed to. All the sweet treats, burgers, chips, etc. And I'm now at a point where competing for me is so important, my performance and what I achieve through changing my body, that food is almost, it facilitates my goal. And I take enjoyment from it, but I don't need to binge. I don't need to self-restrict. I can structure my nutrition to what my goals are. And I'm hoping that the episode so far and what I continue to share with you helps you do the same. So next week we're going to talk about protein. I want to help you understand what protein is and ideas of how to fit that into your lifestyle. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone so much for your support so far. It really does mean a lot. And launching this YouTube channel has been something I've wanted to do for so long. And it's really nice to finally be doing that. Now, my own prep, I've just completed week 7 of my 21-week prep. And it's still going really well. I've had a really nice weight drop again this week. I'm due to do my measurements early this week, so it'll be interesting to see what's happened over the last month there. As it gets closer to the show, I'm still just as fueled to do my best and just keep ticking those boxes on my diet. But so far so good, so I'm really enjoying the process, and I look forward to continuing and sharing my journey with you. Remember guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Any comments would be awesome. I look forward to responding to those, and I can't wait for next week. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you soon.